I became very close friends with Carol Morgan and Lynn Morgan, who was an artist. Have you seen any of his work, the watercolors?
I just read about it.
Yes. Didn't he do postcards?
Yes.
Or
I have
Christmas
Oh,
cards?
Sally has the best books.
I have all that stuff.
I read something
I
about that.
bought them every year and used them, but I neglected to save them.
For the Vanderbilt
Years.
Historical Society, he designed Christmas cards in the beginning, some of these. And then he didn't do those anymore, and a guy named
Ellis?
Steve Moore,
Was there? Oh, okay.
he
Yes.
did, and he does military style drawing. If I, it's very,
It's more precise.
well, it's
Yeah.
more precise, and Lynn was an artist. But he took pictures of his paintings and used them as Christmas
Now
cards.
Lynn is a man
Yes.
with the name Lynn. That's because I had just read that. And wasn't she married before that
Yes,
to
she
somebody?
wa- yes, she
okay.
was.
She was married to Gowsmith, and I have pictures of them here. This is why I'm telling you guys, there's a lot to see. But this is a sample that Lynn and Carol would send, and
Oh, how pretty.
yeah, a lot. I have one of his paintings in my living room and one in the den.
So you knew him personally?
Yes.
I was in love with him. He was a tall, white, curly-haired guy who was a Rosicrucian. So right away I was predisposed to be interested in his thinking. And I chased him around, and Carol was a very interesting woman. They were lovely people. Let me just pass the book, and if you just look at a few of the pages in that section, you'll see more cards. She's the one that met Dutch Schultz, who used to walk around here. He was up at the mansion for a while.
So he was here, because I
he
heard
was.
that.
Oh, he was here.
And he was at the Vanderbilt. What
He was
Vanderbilt's
staying
old
up at the mansion, and he used to walk around and talk to people. And she said he was charming. He was very much a gentleman, and passed the time of day. He was
So
hiding-
tell
he
everybody
was
about him for
rum
those of us
running
who don't know
then.
him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Who is
people
he?
knew that?
And when you think,
Or did they just,
No, she knew
Not
who he
know.
was. She knew who he was.
and what he was doing?
Yeah.
and when you think of the mansion and the dock, it would be a perfect place to
Well,
do
and
it.
all these
Yeah.
canals. Rum running was, in fact, the Thompsons had an old, was it a sub chaser?
Oh, yes, the boat.
The boat.
I wrote about that in the Artists Colony material I did, yes.
Yeah.
It had to be pumped every day to keep it from sinking. And eventually they chopped it up and made firewood out of it.
But they found bottles in the bottom of the canal,
Yeah.
you know.
Which,
The
But
story
this
is
was a
that,
wild party place. It wasn't, did she know what he did? She probably liked what he did.
yeah.
It's,
And this was when the artists were here.
yes,
So
but
the
there were
artist-
artists here.
they're still here.
Right, right. But
I mean, they've never all left.
That's right, there were artists here. And the same thing with, it's been a party place from the time it turned into the Artists Colony. It wasn't a party place for the chickens. They were here to be eaten.
Yeah.
But
so
after
the
that-
rum was coming to a good place.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
But Carol was, she was a very cosmopolitan woman. Lynn grew up in Indiana. Did you know that? With Andy Hirth.
This is Lynn Morgan, the
Yes,
artist,
Yes.
Indiana.
And his neighbor next door was a woman who had been in showbiz. She was a pastor's daughter. And she had been raised in Indiana. And I thought was just fascinated that they would come from the same state.
Right, Indiana to
The state that
to-
seems
to New York.
so
Yeah.
different, yes.
Yeah. Well, New York, of course, has been the
art.
art, yeah, and theater. She was in the theater. She raised 4 children out here. A really interesting woman. She's gone now, but she was really interesting. Everyone was a character. It's like after a place in Old London.
Right, so she's right,
here's
but
Carol
it's just
Morgan
connected.
and her husband, Francis Gowsmith, who was an explorer. And there's
The outfits.
yeah, and this is Carol. Isn't she sweet?
Oh, she's lovely.
She
Oh, yeah.
had. Do you know compareware, quimperware?
Quimper, I've heard of.
Quimper.
Well,
Yes.
if you say it right, it's compare. She
Oh,
had a whole
okay.
set of those dishes, And I remember, who did I take in there? Some other woman who said, oh my God, look at all those things. You know, that the Victorian Society from New York was coming out and they were going to do a tour of the Arboretum at the park, and then they wanted to do the Artist Colony here at Dowling. And I was on tap to do part of the tour of the park with some other docents. And then they said, can you arrange a tour of the Artist Colony? I said, well, yeah, I guess so. So I talked to Rhoda and she said, I'm not going to be here, but my kids are. So her daughter and son-in-law helped us out with tours.
And what did you do? You asked each person to open up their home a little bit? So?
No, just walked around the outside.
Oh, okay.
But Lynn Morgan's house, he had died, and there was a tag sale that day. And I said to the group, you're really in luck. You get to go into a house, you know, a historical place. And this old guy said, oh, big deal.
Oh,
Another
it was
yard
males?
sale.
Oh, God. Women would have been...
Oh, they
Crazy.
were.
Well, and people did buy stuff. They bought a few things.
Did
that
they
were-
have some of his art on sale too?
Yes.
Well, that and previous to that too.
Yes.
We have paintings of his.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Can you get the one on the wall over the couch?
Okay.
That's right near your son's house. It's, my husband and I bought that one, but the one in the den, I was looking at his portfolio one day and it had been creased, one of the paintings. It wasn't matted or framed. I said, Lynn, you're not taking good care of this. He said, I bet you would. I said, yes, I would. And he gave it to me.
Wow. Right thing to say. Oh, beautiful.
Actually, that is
Oh,
my
that's
son's
lovely.
house.
Let's see.
This side, right? Do I have it right now? Yeah.
Yeah.
That has the brick wall right down the center there.
Now, what road are we looking at right
Princess Gate.
there? Oh, Princess
When you
Gate.
came
That's
down,
right
you
over here.
passed Princess Gate and then you came here.
They named the streets after the Vanderbilts left. The Vanderbilts never named the streets.
The blue picked up nicely.
So his collections are all over, that Lynn Morgan.
Yes.
Like his
He was
individuals have them, and
Yeah.
Dowling has.
he
Yes,
sold
I'm sure that
he
his-
sold a lot of them when his wife was put in a nursing home and he needed money.
Yeah.
In fact, I used to have him in for dinner once in a while, and I remember one night he was telling us how awful it is to get old because he was losing his hearing and his eyesight. And he said, and then people think you're stupid.
Ah,
Yeah.
And he said, it's still me in here.
Yeah.
And before we had dinner, we often said grace. My son said, can we hold hands? I want to pray for Mrs. Morgan. I remember we were just, oh my God. It was just really darling, yeah. But the people that knew him and knew his work and know the area work liked his work because it was accessible to us.
yes, and everything he painted in terms of landscape was something we knew.
He
That's
did
amazing.
classes at Dowling. Now, he mixed all of his own watercolors. And he said, my colors are going to last forever. And they are. And they're still as fresh and beautiful. And he said, what you're using is going to fade. It's not going to be good. He told the students, and
Yeah.
I guess he told them how to mix their own colors. But he would take a picture of a scene, paint it, and then he did pictures of his paintings for Christmas cards.
You know, that almost looks like a photograph.
It is.
It is.
Oh, it is a
It's a
photograph.
It's a
photograph of
photo.
the painting.
It's a photo of his painting.
But I'm saying
Yeah,
the
it does
painting
look like
itself
a photograph to me.
looks
too.
like a photograph to me. It's so
It's so realistic.
So
Yes.
detailed too.
Well, he was realistic. It was all.
And yet he
very-
did
it's
some
very
in other
lovely.
styles because I have
Yes.
a face that is fascinating
I'll have to
and
take
it's
pictures
not
of this
realistic.
later. I don't want to put it in there.
Oh, you can use anything that I have. I gave my notebooks to Chris and Diane Halliday at one point, and they.
I hope they're not in the Dowling
No,
collection.
They gave them back.
Oh, they get
Oh,
back.
oh, yes.
Okay, yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
What I like about his art and some of the other artists is that they're artists here
Mhm.
who are painting the unique surroundings here. which
Were
is
you
nice.
on our tour?
No, I wasn't. I should have been.
You should have been, because we had a large collection of artists' art up at Dowling. We started the tour at the college, and Diane Halliday took people through the mansion. And we had, I don't know how many works,
A lot.
a lot up there. In fact, a self-portrait that Lynn had done of himself, Greg Hirth lent that, with some other stuff of Lynn's, and a lot of other local artists. We were amazed at what we could unearth, because we have listings of who some of the local artists were and what works they did. And they had art shows here. I mean, it was, you know,
And our
professionally.
our maps and our materials show where they lived, and their contributions, right?